Let's bring you one of our leading stories now. The Education Department, together with the Business Leadership South Africa, will today convene the Bana Pele Early Childhood Development Leadership Summit in Johannesburg. President Cyril Ramaphosa will officially be at that gathering in Braamfontein. SABC News reporter Refile Mekwa is also there.
We are in Braamfontein, where the Basic Education Department is holding the Bana Pele Roadmap Leadership Summit, and this summit is focusing on early childhood development. But with me to tell us more about the summit is the Basic Minister herself. Minister, thank you for joining us, and just tell us first, how did this come about?
Yeah, so one of the things that we know in South Africa is that we have about 1.3 million children who are not in any early child development program. And now that presents a serious problem in the sense that we know that the literacy and numeracy crisis that we face in South Africa can be directly linked to poor foundations of learning. We believe that if we get the foundations right, that things like uptake in maths and science, things like matric results will take care of themselves because we would have gotten the foundation right. But the fact that millions of children in South Africa don't have access to quality early child development means that we are leaving those children behind, particularly children from much poorer communities. So here today we are co-hosting this event with Business Leadership South Africa, and we're saying we want to form a compact with you, business and the social sector and government, to say how do we expand access, particularly quality access, to 1.3 million children by the year 2030. We are excited because we've got some really committed partners who are prepared to go the whole 9 yards with us so that we can make this a reality. Because if we don't get that right, we will never be able to undo the inequalities that still exist in our education system 31 years later. We have to get the foundations of learning right.
And today's topics and conversations, can you just tell us what will be discussed?
We'll be talking around what kind of curriculum do we provide. We'll be talking around funding in particular, which is obviously a massive issue, about how do we fund ECD. You'll remember we had inherited the function from social development, but obviously it takes on a very different shape when it comes to basic education. We'll be talking about those things, and we'll be talking about how do we collaborate and cooperate with the NGO sector, because you'll recall that the ECD function has always been held and run by NGOs, and so we don't want to leave them behind, because it is through working together that we can make sure that each and every single ECD center is registered, it's given a government subsidy, it is up to scratch in terms of infrastructure, its practitioners are trained, they've got a curriculum that they follow, so that those children can be developmentally on track by the time they turn 5, so that they can be on track by the time they get to grade R, by the time they get to grade 1, and they're able to read and read for meaning by the time they are in grade 4.
Talking about curriculum, I do know that some ECD centers, operate differently from others. How are you going to ensure that the curriculum is universal?
It will be universal in the sense that as soon as we have ECD centers that are registered, that are on our database, then we're able to support them with infrastructure, with curriculum, and all these other things. So this is why we are saying mass registration is going to be important. We're setting ourselves a very ambitious target of registering 10,000 ECD centers by the end of the year, and we want to expand that so that we can make sure that they are all operating from the same standard, the same page.
Thank you so much, Minister. That was Minister of Basic Education, just giving us a clear analysis and indication on how the conversations will be unfolding today. As she have indicated that at the end of today, they hope that there will be a universal curriculum for all ECD centers across the country.